In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to protect a worksheet. We'll be using the 11 Contoso Employees Workbook, and we're going to go and save it, which you go to File and Save As, and then choose the file location where you want to put the file, and we will give it the name of 11 Payroll Data Solution. And leave it as an Excel workbook. And then there are two worksheet tabs down here on the bottom. We want Social Security, and we're going to go to G4. And we are going to create a randomized number. Essentially what you're doing, kind of like the lottery system, it's going to give every person in here a unique number that nobody really influenced with a function called rand between. So on the formulas ribbon, we are going to go to the function library group, and this is in math and trig. Remember, you can also go to FX or insert FX to look for a specific function as well. So once you drop down math and trig, you're going to scroll down and you are going to look for rand between. And this formula is, again, going to create a random number for each one of those employees back on our workbook and be used as some kind of identification in this example. So again, it tells you here, returns a random number between the numbers you specify. So we have two arguments here. Arguments are each line in here. And the bottom is the smallest integer, and the top is going to be the largest. So our bottom is going to be 10,000. And our top is going to be 99,000. And then once you've got that, you press OK. And you can see up here in your formula bar the function. So the equals, the function name, and then our two arguments. Then we are going to take and fill this down. And you can grab the fill handle and fill, or you can double click and you can fill it down, and it will fill it down to the last row of information with that double click. Now, we're going to get rid of the function, but keep the value that is here. So we're going to have G4 selected all the way down to G33, and we're going to go to the Home tab, and we are going to click Copy, and then we're going to go over here, still with that same range selected, and we're going to drop down Paste. And we are going to paste value. And what's going to happen here is we're going to override, if you will, I'm going to click Escape, the function. Remember, the function name was up here. Now, it's not a function, it is just the value. And this is usually something you'll see on the certification exam. You could have press Control-C to copy, and you also could have done right-click method as well. But I wouldn't, you can't really Control-V to paste. You would have to do the paste special options for this to work accurately. All right, so now what we're going to do with G4 to G33 selected is we're going to go to the Home tab again. And this time, instead of the clipboard group, we're going to move all the way over here to the cells group, and we're going to drop down Format, and we're going to come down here to Format Cells. And we're going to go to the Protection tab. And then we are going to ensure that this, or verify, is checked, meaning that it is locked. Now, it's not really locked now. Locked is a two-step process. So what this is saying is it will be locked once you go and you protect this worksheet with a password. So it's set up to be locked if you lock it down with a password. And it kind of tells you right here in this description too. So we're going to press OK. And then we're going to go with G4 to G33 still selected. We're going to go to the Home tab, and we're going to go over on the right-hand side here to the Editing group, and we're going to drop down the Sort and Filter options. Sort and Filter can also be done through the Data tab. And we're going to sort from smallest to largest, which is also called ascending, because largest to smallest is descending. And we want to in this case is one of those rare times we're going to continue with the current selection because we don't want the number to stick with, say, Yoshi here. We want Yoshi to get a totally different number. So what we're doing here is not only did we assign a random number, we on top of that are going to take the numbers and arrange them from smallest to largest with the alphabetical order that we have going on by last name over here. But normally you would want, say, Yoshi's social security number to go with Yoshi. But since this is a random number, it really doesn't matter if it does or does not in this small, very rare particular case. So click sort. Now the numbers are in order from smallest to largest and assigned to each person. Okay, so now we are going to select C4 to D33. Okay, so we have selected the salary and the years of our employees. And we're going to go to the Home tab in the Cells group, and we're going to drop down Format. And we're going to go to Format Cells. And we're going to ensure that, or we're looking to see that that locked cell appears, meaning the cells are going to be locked by default. Okay. So in this case, this time, we want to turn this off. Okay. So it says click the locked cell to turn off the protection of these cells to allow them to change. So we'll turn it off. Remember though, in column G, we had it turned on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to press OK. And then we are going to go to the Review tab. And then we're going to go to the Changes group over here on the right-hand side. And notice there's Protect Sheet, Protect Workbook. Make sure you're picking the right one. Sheet is worksheet. Workbook is the entire workbook. So we're going to protect the sheet. And then you have, it says in the password to protect sheet box, okay, protect sheet dialog box, type in your password. So our password gets typed in, and you have to be very careful here because Microsoft does not save your password. So if you do not have the password, then you cannot get it back once you've locked it down. Now up here it says protect worksheet and the contents of the cells that are locked. What this is referencing is that the whole worksheet is protected and those cells of the ones that we had locked down from going from the Home tab to the Cells group to Format and then Format Cells. Down here you can turn on different things that will allow the users to do things or not do things when you have this protected. So right now, they can allow the users in this worksheet to select lock cells or to select unlock cells. So it tells us the password is not displayed in the password to unprotected sheet box. Instead, those little solid circles are displayed, which are right here, are encrypted. So we are going to press OK. And then this is like a safety check. We're going to put that password in again. And then I'm going to press OK. And if they match, you know it worked. If they didn't match, you'll get a warning message. But now you've got to keep that password somewhere so you can get back to it later on. All right. So it says you have just created and confirmed a password that will lock the worksheet. Passwords are meant to be secure. This means that all passwords are case sensitive. Thus, you must type exactly what has been assigned as the password. uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Okay, so now we are going to protect a workbook in this section of the lesson. Okay, so we need the same file that we've been working with, and we just saved it. And it says to go to cell G11. So we'll go right here to Jim's random ID number. And they want you to try to type a new value in the cell. So let's try to type in the number 1. And since we locked it, it tells us that we cannot make any changes. So we press OK, and that's because it's locked. Now, if we go to D4, okay, or we can just stay here in D11. Jim, remember we selected C4 all the way down to D33 and we unlocked it, okay? If I type something in here, it changes because I unlocked it when I protected the worksheet. So what we've done, if you notice up here, look, a lot of things are locked down. I can't get to them. They're inactive. And that will happen for numerous reasons. Right now, it is because I am double-clicked in the cell. But sometimes it's because the protecting that you've done of the workbook. Now I'm going to undo that changing of Jim's number of years here. All right, so notice up here on the review tab where we went to changes, unprotect sheet is there instead of protect sheet because we've put a password on the sheet. And to undo it, you would click unprotect sheet. So the command name changes once you've put a password on a sheet or on a workbook. All right, so now it says go to the performance worksheet, totally different worksheet. They want you to go to D4, and then they want you to go to the Home tab, and we are going to go to the cells group, and we're going to drop down delete, and we're going to do sheet row. So Stephanie goes away, okay? Her data is removed because, remember, we only protected the worksheet, which was SSN, not the performance worksheet. We protected one worksheet, not both worksheets, and not the workbook. There's a difference, so you got to make sure. So we can press undo to bring Stephanie back, okay? Now, we're going to go back to the Social Security worksheet up here. We're going to go back to the review tab, and then in the changes group, we're going to click unprotect sheet. And that's going to ask us to put that password in again so we can verify that we are the correct source and have the right to change any information. And if you put it in correctly, it goes. If you don't, then it'll tell you the password is wrong. And notice up here on the review tab in the changes group, it goes back to protect sheet because you turned that off. Now, it tells us to click in cell D11, which is where I happen to be, and type in number 8. And they want us to press tab 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're going to type in 1700 and press tab. And then it says on the review tab in the changes group, go back and click protect sheet. And then our dialog boxes are back, and they want us to put that password in again. You could come up with a totally different password if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be the same one that you did the first time you locked this down. So remember, it's going to put a password against the locked cells, and then that we can still select the unlocked cells. So what's saying is if you have a locked cell, what this is letting you do is still select it. If you deselect this, that means you cannot select the locked cells. This is saying that you can select the unlocked cells. If you turn that off, then you can't select things. So just pay attention to what the prompt is on the certification exam. Press OK. We have to type that password back in again, L. And then I'm going to press OK, and it matched, so we're good to go. Now, we're going to switch gears. So Social Security is protected. Performance is not. Notice that this changes up here on the review tab in the changes group. It goes protected sheet because it doesn't have a password on it. And then if you click on Social Security number, it has unprotect sheet. So now on the review tab in the changes group, we are going to try out the protect workbook option. Okay. Now it says in the dialog box, protect workbook for structure. Okay. And then Windows. And we're not doing anything with Windows right now. So we are going to ensure that structure is selected. Okay. And that is now going to require us to put in the new password, which is L. And then we press OK. And then we are going to type in the password again, just to make sure that we did it right. Any good secure password requirement always has you type it in twice, just in case you make a mistake. And it matches, because it didn't tell me that it didn't match. So now you notice okay, so it says to verify the changes in the worksheet options, right-click the Performance Worksheet tab. And notice that some of the commands here are dimmed. And then it says that we're supposed to go to File. And we're going to see underneath here under Info that it is a protected workbook. And we could also unprotect it this way. And then we're going to go to Save As, and we're going to go to the file folder that we want to save the materials in. And what we're going to see here is that we can give it some more options. So we're so used to coming here, go to File Name and Save As Type. We're going to come down here to Tools. And then what we're going to do here is go down to General Options. And then we are going to take this even a step further. Not only now is the workbook protected, the whole workbook opposed to a worksheet. So anything that's locked can't have any changes done to it. But now just even open the workbook if this thing's going to have a password. So that's like 3 layers of protection. The whole workbook needs a password. The worksheet social security number has a password. And then to even open the workbook is going to have another password on it. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a password. I'm going to type it in. And so what you can do here is we can do a password to open it, and we can do a password to modify. And we're going to do the open option here. Then we're going to press OK. And it's going to ask us to put that password in again to make sure they match. And they match, so we're good. And then we're going to say save. And then we are going to say yes to replace the document. And it says, as the document is now saved, anyone who has the password can open the workbook and modify the data contained in the performance worksheet because the worksheet is not protected. However, to modify the Social Security worksheet, the user must also now have a password to be able to modify that worksheet. So like I said, there's like 3 levels here. So we're going to say yes. And it is putting on that password. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close out of this. And I'm going to come over here to where my files are. And I'm going to open up that 11 payroll data solution that I just put the password on. And as you can see, it is going to require us to put the password in. So if I type in the wrong password here and I press OK, it tells us we can't get into it. So the only way you can get into it now is if you have a password. All right. I hope that helps you on how to protect a workbook with a password, to open a workbook with a password, or to protect a sheet and how to lock down cells.